Observe the daily motion of any modern city. Beneath the surface of traffic laws and contracts lies an invisible grid dictating every interaction. That grid is jurisprudence, the systematic study of the theory and philosophy of law. Understanding legal outcomes requires navigating the specific system that defines facts, recognizes entities, and triggers punishments. We construct that map. First, we establish sources of authority, mechanisms generating valid rules. Second, we chart legal actors, the specific entities these rules apply to. Third, we trace the architecture of obligation, mapping connections binding those actors together. This map provides a framework for analyzing how legal theory translates into enforceable law. Now we begin with the first pillar. Every legal system requires an origin point. At the top of this hierarchy, the primary engine for lawmaking is formal legislation, written directly by a legislative body. Valid custom operates parallel to this as another primary source, provided it meets strict, historically recognized legal criteria. But primary legislation faces a limit. Parliaments lack the hours and technical expertise to draft every regulation for a modern state. The solution is subordinate or delegated legislation. Here, the executive branch drafts specific rules under authority granted by a parent law. This mechanism saves legislative time and generates highly detailed, flexible rules calibrated for specific government departments. While politicians and executives write the code, the resilience of that code is tested in the courts. This manuscript illustrates the parallel engine of legal authority, judicial precedent. These are laws generated by judges rather than politicians. Precedent relies on the principle of stare decisis. Translated, it means to stand by decided cases. Courts follow previous decisions to maintain consistency, predictability, and stability over time. Precedent has a specific directional flow. Binding precedent is mandatory for all lower courts. Persuasive precedent, coming from a parallel court, is optional. To extract precedent, we isolate the ruling's active ingredient, the ratio decidendi, the core reason for the decision. This logic alone holds binding power over future cases. The surrounding text is obiter dicta, passing remarks that provide context but carry no binding legal weight. While biology defines life by the flow of blood cells, the law governs trade and property through the architectural blueprints on the right. In jurisprudence, the word person derives from the Latin persona. It designates any entity capable of possessing rights and duties. The system categorizes subjects into natural persons, biological human beings, and artificial persons, such as corporations, companies, and institutions. Jurisprudence relies on the legal fiction and assumed fact recognized by the courts to assign rights where active biological agency does not exist. The legal status of an unborn child is defined by the maxim nascituras pro jam nato habetur. An unborn child is considered as born, specifically for its own benefit. This grants conditional rights. An unborn child can inherit property under succession law, provided they are eventually born alive. Legal personality ends at death. The deceased possess no legal rights, leaving only the moral obligation, de mortuis nil nisi bonum, speak only good of the dead. Personhood is an engineered tool used to attach enforceable rights to specific entities. Political and financial systems would be fragile if sovereign power were tied strictly to a mortal human lifespan. To solve this, jurisprudence employs the corporation sole, a legal entity consisting of a single person and their successors in a particular office. It guarantees continuous succession. The office holds a separate legal personality from the individual currently occupying it. The President of India operates as a corporation sole. The authority of the office survives the death or departure of any single individual. The governor of the Reserve Bank functions with the same continuity, ensuring stability in state governance and institutional finance. Jurisprudence classifies these structures through theories like the bracket theory, which views the corporate form as a convenient symbol for a group of individuals. The corporation sole ensures that the death of a natural person does not result in the death of a legal institution. We arrive at the final pillar. The system binds these natural and artificial actors together through enforceable interactions. A right in rem is a general right available against the whole world. Property ownership or the right to reputation apply uniformly against everyone else. Legal rights differ from absolute duties. Duties to God or society are moral obligations. Because they lack a corresponding person with a right to sue, they are not enforceable by law. The legal machinery activates upon a recognized breach, a failure of an actor's legal duty to take care. John Austin defined negligence as a specific state of mind, characterized by undue indifference towards one's conduct and its consequences. This negligence is classified as either advertent, where the actor is reckless, or inadvertent, where the actor is careless. The system also recognizes the maxim damnum sine injuria, damage without legal injury. If a duty was not technically breached, there is no right to sue, even if physical damage occurred. Obligation is a strictly defined grid where only specific breaches trigger legal consequences. When a breach occurs, the system generates liability, ultimately resulting in a sanction or punishment. Consider, for example, the sudden escape of a hazardous element from a confined space, immediately triggering downstream destruction in the surrounding area. In these scenarios, courts apply strict liability. This doctrine assigns liability without requiring proof of negligence or intention. Following the rule in Rylands v. Fletcher, if someone keeps a dangerous thing on their land and it escapes and causes damage, they are liable. Liability can also migrate. Under vicarious liability, the liability generated by an employee travels up the chain of connection to attach to the employer. This operates on the principle qui facit per alium facit per se. He who acts through another acts himself. These objective assignments of liability contrast with criminal law, which analyzes motive, the underlying reason why a person chose to act. These liability frameworks guarantee a target for restitution, even when clear intent is absent. Look at the completed system. The abstract concepts we started with have populated a dense operational mechanism of law. Latin maxims and concepts like the corporation's soul or the ratio decidendi serve specific functional roles in maintaining legal continuity. These are engineered tools, refined over centuries to maintain predictability and justice in complex societies. Navigating this architecture allows for a technical understanding of why specific legal outcomes occur. Jurisprudence provides the underlying logic that makes the reality of justice possible.